Stranded in the open ocean with limited supplies after her mother's murder, a teenage girl must not only survive the elements but also outsmart the man responsible.
We first meet a teenage girl, Rose, whose face is covered with ugly bruises. It's clear she has narrowly escaped some deadly ordeal and remains deeply shaken from the experience. The story immediately jumps back in time to several weeks before, where we find Rose's mother, Alma, just getting home from her job. Rose then excitedly tells her mom happy birthday for the following day. Alma reminds her to pack up since they have a boat trip planned with her boyfriend. Rose isn't thrilled but agrees, then heads out for her hotel night shift. When she gets back the next morning, her mother is ready with their bags. This trip doesn't excite Rose, feeling she'll just be a third wheel, yet Alma is adamant she join them. While driving, Rose questions her mother about this new boyfriend. Alma admits she doesn't know him well but insists he is a good man. Rose is shocked she would trust him on a 10-day sailing voyage. They soon get to the dock, where Alma's boyfriend, Derek, greets her. He points out their sailing route, close to Bermuda. As Alma gets their things from the car, Rose notices a strange man walk up to her mother. When she later asks about it, her mom says the man just complimented her appearance. At last, Rose is introduced to Derek. He explains he bought the yacht, a second-hand vessel named Annalisa. After some small talk, the trio climbs aboard and sets off on their trip. Once they are underway, Derek brings out a surprise birthday cake for Alma, cheekily decorated with a little tombstone, and they all celebrate. His gift to Alma is a simple beach t-shirt. For Rose, he offers a knife, explaining it's for her protection. When the teenager inquires about his job, he reveals he's an ex-cop who now does private security consulting. Derek then shows Rose the basics of tying a sailing knot, asking for her assistance with managing the vessel. They head onto the deck, and Derek gives Rose a lesson on how to pilot the ship. As Alma snaps pictures of them with Rose's phone, disaster strikes. The mainsail swings around, knocking her directly into the ocean. Luckily, Derek is able to rescue her. Rose dashes below deck to grab first aid supplies and a warm blanket, but she's startled to discover an AR-15 rifle alongside several pistols concealed within the cabin. Shaking it off, she hurries back to help her mom with the supplies. A soaked Alma says sorry for dropping Rose's phone overboard. Rose reassures her it doesn't matter. Suddenly, they all see the weather turning ugly and quickly retreat inside. Alma, worried, suggests turning back since they aren't far, but Derek promises conditions will improve by morning. That night, around midnight, strange noises wake Rose, preventing her from getting back to sleep. Come morning, she emerges to see the bad weather has passed completely. She finds her mother outside, drinking by herself in silence. Rose admits she is miserable and wants to return home, but Alma just calls the scenery beautiful. Her mother then tearfully apologizes for feeling like a failure, saying this trip is all she can offer. A guilty Rose immediately comforts her, insisting she is a wonderful mother. Derek appears and joins them. Rose confronts him about the rifle. He calmly explains it's for his job and asks if she's bothered by its presence. The teenager says no, but then reveals that she would like to try firing it. So, Derek pulls out the rifle and shows her how to shoot. To his surprise, she is a natural, hitting her targets with ease. He's impressed with her talent, calling her a fast learner. He questions if she has any prior experience, but a nervous Rose denies it, claiming it's a first. Alma chimes in that Rose's father was a soldier who was killed in action. Her mother adds that Rose has always had a fighting spirit. Later, while on her laptop, Rose sees another vessel on the radar nearby but thinks nothing of it. At the same time, Alma and Derek are enjoying drinks, and they convince Rose to have one with them. It makes her feel dizzy, so she retreats to her room for the night. A while later, a noise from outside stirs her from sleep. Peeking outside, she sees another boat bearing down on them, which then rams their yacht. Two men board and start menacing Derek, demanding he give something back. He insists he doesn't know what they mean. Alma pleads with them to just go away, but their captain strikes her, causing an injury. To Rose's horror, she recognizes the captain as the man from the dock. Alma, seeing her daughter, desperately tells her to hide. As Derek continues to plead ignorance, the captain loses his patience, mercilessly shooting Alma dead and wounding Derek in the hand, sending him overboard. From her hiding spot, Rose takes a gun, readying herself. The captain and a bald accomplice search the cabin, finding whatever they came for. They completely miss Rose's presence and, before departing, they torch the yacht, leaving it to burn. She realizes in a panic that their yacht is on fire. Grabbing a fire extinguisher, she manages to hastily douse the flames. Venturing back onto the deck, she is confronted by the devastating sight of her mother's lifeless body. By the following morning, a totally lost Rose is stranded on the horribly burned and broken vessel. To make matters worse, the engine is dead, her attempts to repair it are useless. She carefully wraps her mother's corpse in some cloth, determined to give her a proper burial back home. Her decision to radio for assistance is cut short when she finds the equipment was destroyed in the blaze. At that moment, Rose hears a sound. Investigating, she finds Derek still in the ocean, clinging to a rope. He pleads for rescue, so she hauls him back aboard the yacht and tends to his injuries. Furious, she blames him for her mother's death and demands to know who the attackers were, but Derek swears he does not know. She asks for his guidance, showing him an SOS transmitter she located, but he dismisses it as being worthless. With the boat adrift, he instructs her to find a spare jib, attach it to a line, and hoist it up the mast. The task is incredibly difficult, yet somehow the teenager succeeds. On the next day, she tends to Derek's wounds, all while grieving for her mom. While snooping through the cabin later, she finds photographs of Derek posing with the very men who killed her mother. Understanding he has been lying, she ties him up with a rope and takes his knife. After adjusting the sail, however, she realizes Derek is no longer where she left him, so she searches for him below. He startles her by coming out of the bathroom, mocking her inability to tie a decent knot. Rose confronts him about the killers. Derek finally admits he knows them, calling them monsters and warning she is safer not knowing more. He later makes another failed attempt at fixing the engine. Rose wants to try going home, but he explains the current will just pull them further out. That evening, Derek tells Rose he needs rest and asks her to take the watch in the cockpit. He instructs her to maintain a northeastern course, which should eventually get them to Bermuda. The following day, Derek sees Rose wearing her mother's necklace. He claims it was a gift from him to Alma, but Rose knows that's a lie. Her mother owned that necklace for a very long time. Derek changes his story, saying he'd been pursuing Alma since Rose was just a girl, and that only recently had she finally accepted him. That night, with Rose inside the cabin, Derek suddenly starts yelling in a rage. He's furious that they are drifting into the open Atlantic, helpless against the powerful current. His anger escalates into cursing, which frightens Rose enough to lock herself in her room with a gun. When she awakens at dawn, she's overjoyed to spot a nearby island. Immediately, she steers the damaged yacht straight for it. Once they're near, they hop into a lifeboat to reach the island. Shortly after, Rose's pole snaps and falls overboard. While trying to retrieve it, she nearly drowns herself. Fortunately, Derek dives in after her, pulling her ashore. He performs CPR on Rose, and she eventually comes to. The pair later explores the forest, quickly realizing the entire island is deserted. With daylight fading, their only choice is to make a campfire and stay for the night. Around the fire, Derek compliments Rose's shooting from before, praising her natural ability. This prompts Rose to ask about Derek's past. He says he spent 10 years as an honest cop. But, after getting nowhere for his good deeds, he chose to start working for criminals instead. He even admits he enjoyed double-crossing and ripping off the crooks he partnered with, feeling no guilt whatsoever. During their conversation, Derek lets it slip that his wife, Annalisa, had left him for being a total loser. He had named the boat after her, exposing his earlier lie about not knowing the yacht's original ownership. He continues, revealing the captain who murdered Alma actually runs a sex trafficking ring. Had he discovered Rose, he would have taken her too. An enraged Rose declares she will kill the man responsible for her mother's death. Derek just scoffs at her, mocking that she can't even tie a simple knot. He then takes a piece of rope, puts it in her hands, and shows her the correct technique. As he is demonstrating this, Rose spots the SOS transmitter inside his backpack and sees that it's still functional. Then Derek abruptly admits he never gave Alma the necklace and barely knew her at all. He only pursued her because he found her physically attractive. He confesses he was initially irritated that Rose was joining them, but that irritation vanished when he saw that she was attractive as well. Rose is both horrified and furious at this confession. She demands he use the transmitter. He flatly refuses, saying he now must kill her because she has learned too much about his dealings. He lunges at Rose to attack, but fortunately, she gets the better of him during the struggle. The teenager flees from him, disappearing deep into the woods. She awakens the next day, finding herself only at the forest's edge. With nowhere else to go, she cautiously makes her way down towards the beach. Derek sees her and immediately begins firing his gun. He manages to wound her leg before he slips from a cliff, injuring himself badly. When Rose gets near him, she sees how hurt he is. Despite his injuries, he still attempts to lunge at her with his knife. He begs her to help him back to the boat, vowing to use the transmitter as payment. Naturally, she doesn't believe a word he says and attempts to use the device on her own, without success. Derek then cruelly admits his original plan was to trade her to the captain to save his own skin. Upon hearing this vile truth, an incensed Rose flees, leaving him there to his fate. She takes the little safety boat back to the yacht and tends to her leg wound. Later that same evening, Rose wakes up to the terrifying realization that the yacht is sinking. Knowing it's beyond repair, she collects supplies and gets into the lifeboat. During this frantic escape, she struggles to move Alma's body into the lifeboat, but it tragically slips into the sea. The loss completely shatters the teenager, who weeps helplessly as she drifts. She is now starving, all alone, with no clue how to survive. The next day, Rose sees a ship in the distance and desperately tries signaling with flares. Tragically, the bright sun obscures her signal. The ship passes by, her one hope seemingly gone. That night her luck turns. A speedboat finds her and brings her aboard what is likely the same ship from earlier. Once aboard, she's given a wonderful meal right away, though she notices the crew staring at her with lecherous gazes. A moment later, a woman who appears to be drugged wanders into the kitchen asking if she's the new girl, before another man quickly ushers her out. Then Rose spots him, the bald henchman from the night her mother died. Everything clicks into place. She asks the crew if she can use their shower. After washing up, she dresses in some nice clothing and applies makeup, deliberately making herself look appealing. She now understands she's on the very ship belonging to her mother's killer. She makes her way to the control room to meet the captain. He has a rule against girls entering his control room, but he makes an exception for Rose after seeing her beauty. She plays her part, thanking him for rescuing her. Rose recognizes her chance and starts to charm the captain. He dismisses his crew, wanting to be alone with her. Rose comments on the ship's impressive size, asking if he might teach her how to operate it. Thrilled, he begins pointing out various switches, detailing what each one does. When they are finally by themselves, Rose mentions her injury and asks for some medical supplies. He instantly offers to apply the medicine himself and leaves to get it. The moment he turns his back, the girl seizes her opportunity, grabbing a heavy wrench and striking him in the head repeatedly. The brutal attack kills the captain instantly. The crew start searching for her. She manages to slip by them, finding her way into a room occupied by the same drugged woman from before. Rose asks if she knows where they took her gun. The woman tells her the engine room is full of guns and gives her directions. As Rose is about to go, the woman adds that she is not the only captive girl aboard. Many others are being held and kept drugged. Armed with this knowledge, Rose sneaks toward the engine room, dodging crewmen along the way. She finally locates her rifle just as a crew member discovers her. She quickly shoots him dead. More of the crew come after her, and she methodically takes them down one by one. She later confronts a female crew member, leading to a brutal fistfight between them. Though her opponent fights hard, Rose ultimately overpowers her, choking the woman until she is dead. Next, Rose finds the room holding the captive girls. But before she can act, the bald henchman appears and points a gun at her head. He is just about to fire when the drugged girl attacks him from behind, giving Rose the opening to shoot him dead. After the fight, Rose heads for the radio room, hoping to contact help from the outside world. Things suddenly take a shocking twist when she runs into Derek, who is somehow still alive and on the ship. She demands to know how he got there. He explains he used his SOS transmitter to get picked up by the captain's crew. Rose can't believe the captain let him live, but Derek claims they've worked out a new deal. He says he plans on delivering her to the captain. Rose just laughs and informs him she's already killed his boss. Enraged by this news, Derek strikes her so hard she tumbles down a staircase and is knocked unconscious. He leaves to find a gun to finish her off, but she has vanished by the time he gets back. He then starts hunting her across the ship, tracking the trail of her blood. This leads him to a specific area where Rose ambushes him, spraying him with some kind of chemical. Seizing the moment, she lunges forward to attack him with her knife. A violent fight ensues, but she finally succeeds. The other freed girls approach, telling her they are nearing a town and that lights are visible ahead. We return to the present, where a police officer is questioning Rose and praising her incredible courage. He tells her all the other girls are now safe with their families and that it's time for her to go home too. A look of sadness crosses her face as Rose replies she no longer has a home or family. The officer consoles her, insisting that she has a future, one she truly fought for. Well everyone, that brings our recap of Dangerous Waters 2023 to a close. We appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time.